Hey everybody, Bob Olson here with Afterlife TV. You can find us at afterlifetv.com. This is where we talk about life after death and answer the meaningful questions you have around that subject. Today's episode is sponsored by Best Psychic Directory. I just noticed today, I keep saying we have over 800 psychics and mediums. We have over 900
Oh,
psychics and
wow.
mediums. Catch me because I'll probably still say 800 from this episode on. It's been so long. And we have over 900. So that's really cool. You can read reviews. You can check people out by location or specialty. And so check out bestpsychicdirectory.com. Okay, we have an incredible story today that I'm pretty excited about. I really like the story that was told. I just want to say before we get started, I want to say thank you to everybody who has left a review on Amazon for my new book, The Magic Mala. Some of the new people, Monique Cahoon, I hope I said that last name correct. Monique, Laureen Speckler, and Leela. A couple of those say very simple and easy to read, inspirational book. Read it in a day. I think it's going to be a classic. Pretty much sums everything up. And Laureen says, this book is inspiring, so easy to read that you'll want to read it again. You can get caught up in the characters, which are very well written. And after the first page, you'll be hooked. I can see it as a film. Hope so. I hope so. And Monique said this book is inspiring and uplifting. She also read my other book and enjoyed it as well. So listen, everybody who leaves an Amazon review, thank you very, very much. And Melissa wants to thank, so many people now that Melissa's been doing the show have been just writing just really nice. Just you
Yeah.
guys are the kindest people.
Yeah, I
So
want to thank everybody for their kind comments because this was, this was a brave thing I had to face and do. So it was nice to get the feedback, and Bob made sure he passed it along to me. So I just appreciate everybody's comments and their kind words. And also your kind words about my photography too. That
yeah.
also means a lot to me because that's one of my passions.
Yeah. So thank you for everybody we have the absolute best. I say this all the time. We have the absolute best audience
Yes,
of
indeed.
any other show, any other
Exactly.
podcast. I'm telling you, we do. And we're grateful for you. So the other thing I want to say is the Magic Mala, the audiobook is up. So people who've been waiting for the audiobook, there it is. You can go to Audible, you can go to iTunes, or you can go right to Amazon and get the audiobook right there. And we're currently having the audiobook 2 Answers About the Afterlife made because we had so much fun doing that.
One of the cool things about the Magic Mala audiobook is that an actor did all the voices and he changed up the voices for each character, which was really like, I didn't know they did that. And so it makes it really fun to listen to.
Yeah.
It makes it a fun experience, and at the same time, you're taking in the great content that's in it. So
Yeah. No, we got to give Alan Adelberg. He's an amazing voiceover artist, and honestly, he acted them out.
he did.
He didn't just
He,
read it.
no,
He
he's an
acted them out.
actor.
Yeah.
He's an actor.
Yeah.
That's what he does, but he just uses his
And
voice.
he does such a great job.
Yeah.
I obviously wrote the book. I listened to the audiobook, and I got something almost like different out of it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say is one of the things, even people who have read the book, if you're interested in reading the book again, then listening to the audio could be a fun way to take in, because I think a lot of people, the feedback we get is that they want to just absorb more. So they want to go back and reread it. Well, this is a different way that you can absorb the information that's in it and enjoy the story in a different way. It's kind of in between the book and the movie.
yeah.
It's kind of like that middle ground.
It definitely helped me see how sort of imagine the movie.
Right.
And it's something that you obviously you can listen to on the train while you're driving, anywhere that you listen to audiobooks. Okay. So let's get started. Here's the story by Faith. Get ready. It's a cool one.
It is.
Hi, my name is Faith. This is a story of afterlife communication that I hope you'll be able to use. While growing up, it wasn't unusual for my mom to take us on short-distance weekend family trips. Usually the return trips on Sunday were nonstop. But this one time, Mom made a brief stop at a convenience store. When she came back to the car, she handed me a newspaper and told me there was something I should know before we got home. She told me my classmate Todd had been killed in a car accident. Todd's funeral was held by the end of the following week, and I'm not sure how much time passed before I had two very similar dreams within days of each other. Although the scene of the dreams were different, the scenario and the message were the same. It's the second dream I can recall now, almost 40 years later. As in the first dream, I was out with classmates, mostly Todd's friends, whom I normally didn't hang out with. As freshmen, Todd and I had different groups of friends. But in the dream, I was sitting in a car at a gas station with this group, talking and laughing. The driver had gotten out to pump gas, and all the windows were rolled down. One of the friends saw Todd come around the corner of the station and excitedly tells the group, "Hey, there's Todd." Everyone was excited to see him. Knowing that he'd been gone and we hadn't seen him for some time, we all start to invite him over with shouts of, "Hey, Todd, where have you been?" and "Hey, we've missed you." Todd is smiling, kind of waving as he walks towards the car. I'm in the back seat next to the window. Todd walks straight up to me, inches from my face, looks straight into my eyes, and tells me with a smile in his voice, "I just came back to tell you I'm okay." And with that, he turns and walks away. In both dreams, I was out with Todd's group of friends. Todd appears, everyone is happy to see him, knowing they haven't seen him in a while, and each time he comes directly to me, looks into my eyes, and repeats the same sentence, "I just came back to tell you I'm okay." The dreams didn't scare me. They didn't strike me as fearful or creepy. After the second dream, I felt I was meant to share the dreams with his friends, our mutual classmates. And once I did, I no longer had any more dreams. At that time, I can't say I believed in the life after, but I know I didn't disbelieve either. I recall asking myself, why would Todd reach out to me? Past grade school, he and I ran in different circles. It may have been almost a week after I shared my dreams, another mutual friend, Diana, told me that she was walking along the trail between her parents' and Todd's parents' houses, and she found carved into a tree Todd's initials, the plus sign, and my initials. Since then, I've read books on how events and life energies are all connected, and I believe all the chain of events may have been connected, even though I don't completely know why. From Mom stopping to learn about the accident before we got home, through everything, the dreams, and then finally to the initials in the tree. I think they're all connected, but again, I don't really know why or how. But it wasn't until after listening to your show that I realized the initials in the tree were the answer to my question of why Todd reached out to me. Again, I don't feel creepy or weird or scared about it. I actually feel kind of honored and blessed. Thanks for your time.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Afterlife TV. You can find us at afterlifetv.com. And so we're going to respond to Faith's story. What a story, right, Melissa? That's
I know, right?
Let's just comment on the face of it right away. First of all, you had two dreams, and we talked about dreams in the last show. So I think that's kind of cool. One of the things that Melissa said, and I affirmed from my research, that when you have a dream visitation, you remember it 40 years later with
Heck yeah.
great clarity.
Yeah, and the details, you remember the details.
Faith, you seem to remember that. What I love about this story, Faith, is that it's almost like a detective story. You get all these different pieces, you got to like put them together, and you try to find meaning in them. The end result, for me at least, is there's great meaning. There's incredible meaning here, but I also think it's all very surface level. The more I thought about it, like the meaning is right there in front of us, and
Right.
and I don't think we need to look too deep into it.
Yeah, like there's nothing hidden. There doesn't seem to be some sort of hidden meaning behind it.
Yeah. So let's start. What I mean by that specifically, I think that the fact that your mother pulled over on your way back from a trip, a weekend trip. I'm looking at my notes. The fact that she pulled over and this was unusual, I don't think that you need to look into that too deeply other than to recognize that your mother, I think, I'm just interpreting this for myself, but I think she was following her own intuition, and she was getting some kind of intuitive impulse to pull over and get a newspaper.
Right.
And lo and behold, I don't know. I'm assuming maybe it was on the front page because somehow she handed you that newspaper. So I'm assuming the story of the car accident that Todd died in was obvious to see. And so she found out about it. And I think this was maybe Todd's way of getting you to find out about it.
Yeah.
It could have
Yeah.
been your spirit guides as well. For whatever reason, somebody up there in spirit wanted you to know that Todd had passed. You agree with that, Melissa?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, I think it can be many variables and possibly I would imagine your mom didn't even know why she was doing it. That's how intuition works, you know?
Yeah.
And she listened and she listened to that instinct
Yeah,
to
which is really
stop.
cool, right?
Yep.
So your mother may not recognize it, but she is in touch with her intuition in a way that maybe she's not even aware of, or maybe for all we know, she gives readings every
Yeah,
weekend.
right.
I don't know.
Right.
So then the dream where you're with Todd's friends. Now, this is a little cryptic for me. I don't know any other reason other than the reason that you came up with, Faith,
Exactly.
which is you're with Todd's friends, and then he comes over to all of
Yeah.
you, and everybody's saying, "Hi, Todd." And I think the interpretation you made that this is something you should share with them.
Yeah.
I don't want to use that word should, that you
Yes,
could
that's true.
share with
Yes,
them.
that you have the opportunity to if you chose to.
Yeah, and maybe
Yeah.
he'd like you to, but
Yeah.
just because anybody wants us to do anything doesn't mean we should. And just because those same people now might be in spirit doesn't mean we have to, doesn't mean we should. We get to make these choices.
Right.
They're just people, but they're people in spirit now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't put any more emphasis on it, except for the fact that you know how hard it would be maybe for Todd to get that message through. And he chose you, it seems like, for a couple of reasons. But if if Diana hadn't told you about the initials in the tree, we might just say, well, you have this ability to have dream
Yeah,
visitations.
I think people in spirit, when they're trying to get a message through, they know who the good receivers are. They are somehow able to detect who they can influence or who will pick up the message that they're trying to impart out there. So I think that, he just recognized that you were a good receiver. It also, obviously, there was something to your relationship, even though it was just a friend relationship
At least you.
to you, right? That there was something more. But I think there it's a little bit twofold, I think. Almost maybe even a sense of not just being the receiver of the message, like you would actually get the message, but also that you might be comfortable, your personality may be comfortable passing that message along.
Yes. Now, uh, what we don't know, I think you probably would have been told when you passed this information to his friends. It's possible that he tried or even did come through in other people's dreams,
Correct.
and
Right.
they just wrote it off as a dream, just a regular old dream, not what we'd call a dream visitation. So I believe this happens all the time.
I agree.
I think I've talked about this before on the show. I believe that if you take books and movies, movies is a great example. You know how movies come out, Melissa, and there's like three movies and they're all about the same subject.
Yes,
Like some
right.
really odd subject.
Yes.
And I've always believed that spirit, the universe, is trying to get this story told, this message out there.
Yes.
And they put it out to a whole bunch of people who might
Yeah. Receivers.
receivers,
I call them receivers.
receivers who might get that movie made
That's
or
right.
that book written, and only so many are going to actually be able to bring it
Yes.
to
To
fruition.
fruition. Yeah.
So that's the case here. And the dream came through for you, Faith, and you recognized it and you believed that maybe it was more than just a dream, that maybe he really was visiting you. The message, this is almost textbook. This message, I just came back to tell you I'm okay.
Right.
Same thing. I've talked about this on the show before. One of the like 5 top messages are I'm okay.
Yeah.
And that's one of the first things that a lot of people worry about, especially people who don't know much about this subject. So, what a great message for you to pass along to those people. Now, whether they believed you or not doesn't matter. For some of them,
Yeah, some of them will. I'm sure it made a difference.
it's going to make a difference. How nice. Now, you can call this coincidence or serendipity, how whatever. We don't believe in coincidence here. We believe in serendipity, and the fact that Diana happened to see the initials in this tree. I'm glad you don't find it creepy, because some might. Think about that. Now, he carved out his initials plus your initials on this tree. It doesn't sound like something a freshman would do, right? Do you agree, Melissa?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe. Like I'm like imagining like my nephew who's going to be a freshman. If it's
Yeah, it's possible.
my feeling sort of is if it's like sort of this secret sort of love, which it seems like it might have been since Faith, you weren't aware of it. That I can see someone just wanting to sort of express that, but they're doing it sort of in a very private way that's
Yeah.
just for them. And I can see a young person in particular doing that because of the just that fire that they have in their gut at those ages,
That's right.
the passion.
But the other possibility is, if it wasn't more of a recent thing that he had done, perhaps he was in love with you for a while. Maybe a couple of years, a
Yeah,
few
it's
years. You
possible.
don't know.
You'd
Anything's
know better
possible.
than us.
Yeah, that's right. You would probably have an idea of that. But when I said I'm glad you didn't find it creepy, because some people might, but I think it's nice. Love is a beautiful thing,
Right.
and even in this case, just because you didn't get together, same thing. There's no shoulds in this world, so
Right.
doesn't mean it was meant to happen or anything. There's plenty of people who are in love with other people and they don't get together, but that doesn't mean there's anything creepy. We'll use that
Right,
word about
right,
it. It's
right.
it's a beautiful thing. He
Right.
admired you. He saw your gifts. He saw something special in you, and to the point where he sort of had, maybe it was secret, maybe it wasn't, maybe his friends knew, but it sounds like you didn't know that he felt this way about you.
Yeah,
A-
and I think it's really one of the things that stands out to me with this story is that I think there's a larger message in it for you personally in terms of your own ability. And I say this not to say that you're a medium or anything, but I'm just saying that I just think it's really kind of cool that you were able to sort of reflect back and see sort of the continuity of all of these pieces, right? And then drawing a bigger picture. I mean, like Bob was saying, like this kind of thing happens all the time, but people don't put the pieces together. So I think it's really great that you just had the awareness to do that. And maybe it's just sort of this reminder that that you are connected, that you are connected in a way that perhaps not everybody is. And that you really, if you start to really pay attention to that, that can be the gift that he gives you, is that he gave you the gift of this experience to awaken this part of yourself so that you can, just develop it more and use it for your own benefit in your life to have a joyful life.
when I started my research with psychics and mediums back in 1990, 99, yeah, I always asked everybody their early story, and everybody had an early story, and a lot of times they would see signs of a
Right,
gift,
yeah.
and then they'd push them away, and then they'd come back later.
Mhm.
With the exception of those people who had parents who recognized the gifts in them and fostered those gifts so that they would help
Right.
expand them for them.
Right.
But with your story, you're starting to have these dreams. You're having these dreams, and that's how a lot of psychics and mediums start. They start with dreams.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but it was amazing to me how often that would happen. It would start with dreams, and then it would turn into what we traditionally know as being able to intuitively know things or connect with people in spirit, whatever.
Right.
But a lot of times it started with dreams. So I agree.
Yeah, and I do think that it's important. We all have intuition, and we're all using our intuition. But there's a big difference between using your intuition and knowing when you're using your intuition. It's a totally different thing because we all walk around and we use our intuition and we don't necessarily know that we're being, pulled in a certain direction because of our intuition. So having an experience like this can awaken your awareness to your own intuition, which is only going to help an individual in life.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't mean that you have to go out and train to be a psychic or a medium, because the truth is that our intuition is for us. Like it's like our foot or our hand.
Yeah.
Is we use it. We're supposed to use it for our benefit,
Well, yeah. I always think of surgeons, surgeons who have the ability to connect with their intuition.
Right.
We see a lot of body workers
Sure, absolutely.
who don't even recognize they have any intuitive abilities. And then after doing body work for so long, all of a sudden
It's developed. Like
it's
they know when it's happening.
automatic for
Yeah.
them. Police, think of a police officer,
Investigator.
investigator being able to connect with your intuition. You are tapping into a source that can help you, could save your life even.
That's right.
So a lot of cool things here. We'll just sum up. Your mother followed her intuition. Really cool. Pulls over. She just, whatever impulse it was, got her to pull over, do something different, get that newspaper, finds out and tells you about it. Diana perhaps did the same thing.
Correct.
Who knows why she took that path that day or why she looked at that tree? Sort of the same thing. Might have
Yep.
recognized an impulse, an intuitive impulse within her. And then you are getting these dreams, following them to the point where you have the courage to then go and tell his friends about it. You're now a messenger, medium or not, you're a messenger. And that's what mediums are
Yeah,
eventually.
and then the validation that you received, because he no longer was coming to you in your dream once you passed along the message. So you, as the receiver, sort of valued the information and did with it what he wanted.
I love that. I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
Stopped for a reason.
yeah,
That's a message to you.
definitely.
At the end, you feel honored and blessed, is what you said, and I love that.
Yeah,
and,
same here.
And we feel honored and blessed that you shared this story with us.
Yeah,
and I know
thank
a lot
you
of
for
people are gonna
sharing,
like
Faith.
it. Yeah. So thank you so much. And that's it for this Afterlife TV bite-sized episode. I want to just mention, if you're interested, I have 2 books out. Answers About the Afterlife, which is 150 questions that I answered based on my investigation, 15-year investigation of life after death. The Magic Mala is my newest book. It's a fictional story. It is about a lot of the things that I learned investigating life after death, but it's what I learned about life rather than what I learned about the afterlife. If you're someone who likes Facebook, please go to Facebook and like our page so that you can get our posts about any new episodes. We get a lot of people who say, "Oh, I didn't know there was a new episode." You can sign up for our newsletter. That might be maybe the best way to find out.
Definitely.
Second of all, make sure that you like our page on Facebook or you follow us on Twitter. Of course, if you're an iTunes podcast person, you'll probably see that in your podcast feed. So, and then YouTube, same thing. Thank you. We appreciate that you listen and follow Afterlife TV, and glad you have the same interest that we have in it. And we enjoy doing this. So thank you, everybody,
Thank you,
for
everyone.
joining us this week. And I hope you have a great week. All right.
Bye now.
Bye now.